If someone offered you $1 million today, you would probably accept it without thinking for even a second. But what if that same person asked for 10 years of your life in return? Most people would immediately refuse. The strange thing is that millions of people are making that trade every single day without realizing it. This is the story of Edward, a man who believed he was only wasting a few harmless hours. At 28 years old, Edward had a stable job, a small apartment, and dreams he kept postponing. Every morning, he promised himself that someday he would learn new skills and change his future. Every evening, he told himself there would be more time tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. And nothing in his life really changed. His biggest problem was not money, bad luck, or lack of opportunity. His biggest problem was something so ordinary that most people never question it. Every day after work, Edward sat down on his couch and opened his phone. One short video became 5, 5 became 20, and 20 became an entire evening. The videos made him laugh, entertained him, and helped him forget about stress for a while. But when the screen finally turned off, nothing in his real life had improved. The next day, he repeated exactly the same routine again. At first, 4 wasted hours did not seem dangerous enough to worry about. After all, almost everyone around him was doing the exact same thing. That is why Edward never noticed the cost of his habit. The price was not measured in dollars, but in something far more valuable. The price was measured in the future he was slowly giving away, one evening at a time. One ordinary evening, Edward came across a question so simple that most people would scroll past it without a second thought. The question asked, "How much time do you spend on your phone every day?" And for some reason, it stayed in his mind. Edward expected a normal number, something small enough to ignore and easy enough to justify. Without much concern, he opened his screen time report and waited for the number to appear. The moment the report appeared, his expression changed completely. His phone showed an average of more than 4 hours every single day, every week, every month. For years, he had believed he was only taking short breaks, but the numbers told a different story. At first, 4 hours did not sound life-changing. Then he decided to calculate what those hours really meant. He multiplied 4 hours by 7 days and immediately felt uncomfortable with the answer. 28 hours every week was more than an entire day disappearing from his life. The realization hit harder than he expected, but he was not finished calculating yet. Next, he multiplied 4 hours by 365 days. The final result appeared on the screen and instantly filled the room with silence. 1,460 hours. Edward read the number again just to make sure it was real. Then he converted those hours into days, and what he discovered made his stomach drop. He had spent more than 60 full days every year staring at a screen. That was not a weekend. It was not a vacation. It was 2 entire months of his life. 2 months that could have been used to learn valuable skills, build a business, or completely change his future. For the first time, Edward stopped seeing his habit as entertainment and started seeing it as a hidden cost. In that moment, Edward realized he was not losing minutes. He was losing pieces of his life. That night, Edward could not stop thinking about the number he had just calculated. The number followed him everywhere, like a voice he could no longer ignore. For the first time, he started wondering what those lost hours could have become. He remembered wanting to learn new skills years ago. He remembered all the times he said he would start next week. Next week eventually became next month, and next month became another year. The truth was painful. Time had moved forward, but he had not. His phone had never forced him to waste time. The choice had always been his. That realization hurt more than any number on a calculator. For years, he blamed circumstances while ignoring the decisions he made every evening. He imagined where he might be if he had used those hours differently. A better career, more knowledge, more freedom. 16 to 9. None of those goals had been impossible. They had only required small actions repeated over a long period of time. The same way 4 wasted hours had slowly created a problem. Small, useful actions could slowly create a better future as well. For the first time in years, Edward felt a sense of urgency. He realized that waiting for motivation had been another mistake. Motivation comes and goes, but habits remain long after feelings disappear. That night, Edward made a decision that would slowly change the direction of his life. The next morning, nothing felt different. The world had not changed, but Edward had. For the first time in years, he started his day with purpose instead of distraction. He did not try to change his entire life overnight. He only focused on winning one day. 30 minutes of learning became 1 hour. 1 hour slowly became a habit. At first, the progress was invisible. No rewards, no applause, no dramatic results. Most people quit during this stage because they expect success to arrive too quickly. But Edward finally understood that small actions become powerful when repeated long enough. Every evening, he had a choice: scroll for comfort or work for a better future. And every time he chose growth, his confidence grew a little stronger. Weeks turned into months, and the person in the mirror slowly began to change. His mind felt clearer because he was no longer feeding it endless distractions. The hours he once wasted were now building knowledge, skills, and opportunities. For the first time in a long time, he felt in control of his own future. The changes were small enough to ignore, but too important to stop. 1 year earlier, he spent every evening escaping reality. Now he was building one. The habit that once stole his time was slowly losing its power over him. Every completed day became proof that change was possible, even for someone like him. The future he once dreamed about no longer felt impossible. It finally felt reachable. He was not successful yet, but he was no longer standing still. And without realizing it, those small daily decisions were preparing him for a completely different life. Years passed. The changes were so gradual that Edward barely noticed them happening. But one day, he looked back and realized he was no longer living the same life. The skills he practiced every day had opened doors that once seemed impossible to reach. The knowledge he gained slowly turned into confidence, and confidence turned into opportunities. The opportunities created new income, and the income created new freedom. Nothing had happened overnight. Every result was built from thousands of small decisions. The same principle that once worked against him was finally working in his favor. Years ago, 4 hours disappeared every evening. Now those same hours were building his future. He had not discovered a secret. He had simply learned to respect his time. Most people think success changes a person. In reality, daily habits change a person first. And once a person changes, their future begins to change with them. Looking back, Edward realized the real problem was never the phone itself. The problem was believing that small daily choices did not matter. Because every choice matters, especially the choices repeated hundreds of times. A wasted hour may seem harmless today, but repeated often enough, it can shape an entire life. The same is true for a useful hour invested in learning, creating, or improving yourself. The future is rarely changed by one big decision. It is usually changed by small decisions repeated every single day. The question is not whether time is passing. The question is what your time is building. Because 10 years from now, you will become the result of the choices you make today.